Okay, the fretboard. Oh, that was a nut I was testing. The fretboard is nice this morning. It's a new day. The shiny job that I did on here is nice. I mean, it was already really shiny. I just put some wax on it to say that I did it, and it feels a little bit glassier than it did before, but it really didn't need it. I just needed to basically rub it over with a microfiber towel. I've made no secret, I guess, that I really bought this guitar because of the color. And it could have been any style. It just happened to be that they make this style in this color from Fantasy Guitar Club on AliExpress. And before I get a interference with that, I'm just gonna turn it off. And they did a spectacular job of the poly over this sparkle. I mean, there's not one blemish, not a swirl, not a crack. I mean, nothing anywhere. Pretty nice, pretty nice. I've decided to go with the bone nut because the bone nut more closely matches the color, the white color of the binding around the neck. The tusk is a little bit more darker white. And I thought, a little bit of a contrast. It either had to be black to match the headstock or the whitest bone nut that I've got. And I think I'm going to go with that one. Now, I remember doing a measurement of the strings that were on here, and I said it was 8 and then 42. It's usually 9 to 42. And I did measure the high E twice just to make sure. And it came out 8 both times. And so I've decided that I'm going to put a special set that I bought, which is 8.5 to 39 on this one. I've got some 9 to 42s coming in tomorrow, but I want to do some work today. I've got some 9.5s to 45s as well, but I'm thinking I'm just going to go with the 8 on this one. 8.5. Of course, they're D'Addarios and they're EXL 130 plus. The plus. There's the bridge. I'm not sure what the plus is. Oh, maybe it's because they're an EXL 130 is likely the 8s, and then the plus is usually the 0.5. I think that's what they do on the 9s as well. Okay, so I'm not doing anything with the nut gluing at this point because I think I'm going to need to adjust the slots backwards a little bit. The slots are pre-slotted. There's a wee bit of a back angle. I'm not sure if that's going to be picked up on the camera. Yeah, it's pretty hard. It's a wee bit of a, yeah, you can't really see it at all. So there's a wee bit of a back angle on it, but it sits in the slot over there, and there's a slight cant forward on it, which I think makes the back angle on the nut not there, irrelevant. So I probably am going to need to put a little bit of a back angle on that again, just to make sure that the front edge is still nice and crisp and sharp for the strings going over. And I'm going to check each string with that nut and make the appropriate adjustments with my files. And once I've got it, with everything set up, and I've got the right angle, and I've got the action nice here, I probably am going to have to relieve this truss rod just a little bit. Might as well do that now while I'm thinking of it. And I'll do that full setup, and then by the time I have it all set up the way it's supposed to be, only then will I glue in the nut at the very end of making sure everything is set up properly. So I am going to do that work, and I will get back to you. Alrighty, it's strung up. It's quasi in spec. It just needs to wait for the tension to come up on the strings, and we'll do the final adjustments, the truss rod, etc. We started with some relief. Turns out that on the 2B, still grinding out in the middle. I think I'm probably going to have to give it another turn, going that way. It obviously doesn't have enough. And this is where the time comes in. When you're doing this part, we need to wait for the settling to occur. All right, it's close. We'll get back. Hey, what's up? Let's go over this again. I had strings on this thing, right? Yeah. Well, I had to go in after a high end. Oh, what's that around? Yeah, at the 11th fret. And that 1 turned into 3, of course. So we're going to hope that solves the problem, because the B and the E strings were kind of grinding out on that fret again, even though it was not showing me a problem when it was in the straight position. Once I put the truss rod adjustment back in, boom, I end up with a problem. Well, let's see if I have to do any more, or will this do it? You know, I really hate doing fret work. And because I hate it doesn't mean I'll do a bad job, but I really hate doing fret work. It's energy consuming. Even though my methodology is better now than it was when I started, since I've learned how to do it the best way possible and the fastest. The multiple green sandpapers. Okay. Da-da-da. Now I've got strings all over the place here. And of course they want to wind on me and do all kinds of things. How did you get around there? somehow that stuck under the entire fretboard to the other side. Now the nut is still out. And I had to take these posts out again. Yeah, put it in the right place this time. To get the strings off. I tried to pull the bridge out, but I just couldn't get the strings loose enough to give me a good feeling about that coming out. Alright, so everything you do is going to want to try to muck up your finish. I'm trying my best not to chip the chrome on these screws. Really? You can't go too far on one because it creates the angle. Then it won't screw in because of the angle causing friction on the other post. So just at the bottom. Don't have to tighten it. Just at the bottom. Don't have to tighten it. Why is that stuck? Oh no! It's twisted! Can you believe that? Here we go again. Another new set. Please work this time. So again, you have to unwrap and unravel strings. And do it all over again. Stand by for when it is safe to get back on the air. Okay, it's restrung and I'm not getting the ground out anymore. Woo! Only cost me a set of strings. Alright, it's going to have to sit for a while I have some other work to do. Oi! Second time I'm removing my strings again. All the frets down here were higher than the frets like from 12 on. I took it off and I fixed these three before, and when I fixed those three, then the next three became the problem. Under the B string specifically. The other ones were all okay, but just the B string all the way up there. And I'm looking at the bridge and I can't figure out what's wrong. It doesn't look like there's a problem. It's equalized with both sides. There's no construction problem. There's no manufacturing error that I can see. And then I'm going, all right, gotta bite the bullet. I wasted a whole set of strings before because they got twisted. So this time I put the capo a little bit further up the neck. And I've got them down here so they're not going to twist and get around the headstock like they did the last time. So what I'm doing is I'm creating what we call the roll-off. I marked up all of the frets, specifically under the B string. And I ran my little stone, which I'm using as a leveling device, across there until I got all of those black markers under the B string gone. And it's quite evident that this fret and this fret were higher than this one by a lot. And then these other one, and this one's the lowest one. It's hardly even touched the black on it yet. It's bottom, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's the end. So what I decided to do was, well, once I got that done, I was just going to mark them all up and just go the whole distance back and forth until I got them all shined up, and to see where the problems are. So this fret here was high there, and right here in the middle, it's barely touched the black, which means that this one and this one is still higher than that one by a little bit, which is why I'm still working on it. Because I don't want to have to go through taking this off again. So yes, I'm so close to the end. Everything else is done except for this fret problem just won't go away. They were not on level, they were just too high compared to the rest. So that's where I'm at. Stand by until I let you know what I think of what's happening here. It'll only be a second. Look, I got them finished. They're gleaming. I have to clean up. Get this tape off and remount the strings and see if there's a new measure of success or not. Stand by for that. The news is not great. Well, it's great from what I was working on, but now that I've done that, the 3 prior frets that were bothering the B2, I should say, yeah, the B, 2B, is no longer along those frets here. But now the high E at the ends of those 3 frets here, 12, 11, and 10, are buzzing out there. Looks like I'm not finished taking it off and still reworking some of those frets. I still feel so close to the ocean. I can feel the breeze. I just can't touch the water. Oi, again. I absolutely had to do it again. Tape it up and go after all these fret ends down here that were causing the E string to ground out underneath there. So I'm hoping now that I've taken that down and leveled them off in the playing position, that I'm not going to have the problem anymore, because this is like the 4th time I've had to take these strings off. This is turning out to be a lot more work than I initially assessed with only a couple of high frets. But because of the angle of the neck on the body, all this end upper here were a little bit too high. And I would have had to have the action so up that the playing in this part of the neck would not have been comfortable, too high. I like my strings to be like just right above the frets. So nice gentle pressure. So here we go again. We're going to take this off one more time and restring it up and see if it'll work out. You know, it's so pretty. I'm not feeling too angry about it. But if it goes on much longer, I'm thinking about firewood. I'm starting to feel like firewood. It's a losing battle I'm having here with this set of frets. Again, it's 11, 12, and 13, but this time on the E string. And if I take those down, then they're going to be lower than these. And if I take those down, they'll be lower than those. So I'm facing a losing battle. Hi. Some days it's discouraging until you find the trick to make it work properly. Yep, you guessed it. I'm doing the ends of these frets again. With the hope that it is the last time. I wish it was. I wish it was. I hope it is. And finally, it works. Oh, I'm telling you, this ended up in more frustration than I thought in the beginning. I thought that the neck was really good, and from a level point of view, it was. But when you get it into playing position, I don't know what was going on with this end of the frets down here. They were just like, and I was thinking, well, is it twisted? I can't see that it's twisted. I just can't see that it's twisted. It looks set straight, but whether or not the fingerboard was a little bit higher on this side or not, I really couldn't tell one way or the other. But yay, look, it's working. I need a break. Hey guys, well here it is. The exact date is the 26th of July. Going over my files, I realized I had not completed part 4 and part 5 of this guitar, and I had gone on to some others which are scheduled, and I thought I better get this in. So it's been in the bag now about a month and a half, and well, actually the last time I used it was on the 21st of June when I did the Fortunate Son song with it, and I'm going to put a little clip up here. It's still, all I had to do is tune up a couple of strings. Now the tuners, which are the fake Grovers on the back of this thing, they look good, but they suck. So I actually bought real Grovers for this, and they'll go on at the next maintenance of this guitar. So I took it out, I tuned up 3 strings, and it's still good. It took a freaking lot of work, but I learned my lesson. Just do a full level on it and get it done with, because it's way faster and way easier, and you don't waste so much material in strings. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm still in love with it. I still love the color. The fruits of my work is still good. The fretboard is still very nice to play on, and I just wanted to include this final little clip to complete part 5 and the final part of this guitar. Here it is. So I just want to thank you for watching the series and putting up with all of my stupidity in part 5 with the fret leveling. And don't forget to watch the next one.